On September 11th, I was coming out of East 38th on 21st Street, New York, New York, 10011, I think, zip code, or 10010. Anyway, it's Gramercy Park. And that day I remember seeing the buildings on fire. I was in New York. And one thing that caught my attention is when I was coming back from where the buildings were, the World Trade Center, I remember seeing people still at cafes and they were still eating, drinking wine or coffee, whatever it was, mid-afternoon. And that surprised me. But there were also other people kind of going towards the buildings. I got pretty close to it, and then a reporter had come up to me and told me to get back. I don't know where that reporter is, but they had heard that the buildings were possibly going to fall, and they did end up falling. So I got there before both of them had fallen. And then I got back to my dorm. I remember when the chaos happened, I went and grabbed peanut butter, and there was this girl there. She was the same girl that I met on the elevator that told me that a plane had hit one of the towers. I guess it was the South Tower. And by the time we got on the sidewalk, we started walking towards it all. It was a big chaotic day. It was a horrible day. The whole day everybody was in fear. And I remember we also couldn't use our cards and things like that. Everything was chaotic. We couldn't buy anything. And the whole island was shut down. I do remember going back to the new school. I think one of the buildings were still up. And I remember going into where one of the classrooms were and sitting down and looking out the window and seeing the smoke. And I sat down and I prayed, and I just asked God to help those poor people. And that happened that day. It was the worst day that I had ever experienced. And then, of course, you could go back to wherever you were, whether it be your apartment or whatever it was. You know, I was staying in a dorm room. You could watch it on TV, and then you could look out the window and see the smoke. People were doing that, even along the stores. When you'd walk along the sidewalk, there'd be a store, and people would be inside the store looking at it on the television, and then they'd go out on the sidewalk, and then they would see the real thing. That's how New York kind of was. You couldn't really believe that it was happening. You would see it on TV, and then it was happening right there in front of you. Still shooken up every September 11th. And I try to talk about it, or I try to discuss it with other people. I did talk to a friend that lived in Soho. One of her kids saw the actual airplane hit the building and told her mother about it. But anyway, it was the worst day I've ever experienced that I can think of. And people were just in shock. They could not believe the devastation was really happening. And where were you?
I was in Houston. Received a phone call at 8:45 from my boyfriend. Said the Twin Towers. Twin Towers. I was 19. Guess I didn't learn it in school. I was like, what the heck are Twin Towers? I didn't know what it was. I learned what it was after that. So, yeah, that's where I was. It's just sad that it happened. You know. Changed the country that day and forever on.